There are a plethora of Pokemon in the Unova region, all of which could be a very powerful ally in your Pokemon journey in Pokemon Black and White. But what if we talked about a Pokemon that could work like a dream? Of course, we're talking about the Munna line, an adorable Pokemon line that is more useful than it might let on. So, let's check it out. First and foremost, availability. You can find Munna as early as right after the first gym, inside of the Dream Yard. That's pretty early in the game, not really losing or missing out a considerable amount of the journey. But what, in my opinion, makes Munna's availability all the more notable is the fact that it's a Psychic type. At this point, you're mostly going to find very common types, the usual normal, dark, or even flying types. And yeah, later down the road, there's a few electric and rock types, but a Psychic type? This early in the game? Oh, Munna is your Pokemon though, because it's got super strong attacks early on and it's a pretty solid Pokemon. Speaking of moves, Munna gets a very solid array of moves. Firstly, it gets Side Beam incredibly early, at level 11, so you're hitting your enemies with base 65 power, and that's without counting stab attack. And then later down the road, you get the amazing Psychic with 90 base power, and then add that with stab. That's paired up with 107 special attack fully evolved. Musharna is going to hit everyone with Jupiter's entire force. But other than strong Psychic type moves, it gets other type moves thanks to TMs. It gets access to Rock Tomb, which you can find on the Desert Resort right before the 3rd gym, Shadow Ball in the Relic Castle right before the 8th gym, and Charge Beam in Route 7 right before the 6th gym. So with the correct assortment of moves, you can do well against 4 out of the 7 gym leaders. It will do well against Berg's Pokemon, but like really be careful. Elise's 2 Emolgas, all of Skylar's Pokemon, and all of Bryson's Pokemon. Most of it is thanks to Rock Tomb, but like, hey, Musharna's bulkiness is not for nothing. It will tank both physical and special hits, and still be able to hit like a massive truck. So if you're looking for a Pokemon that can tank hits as well as it dishes them out, Musharna's your gal. Now, that's moves that can attack your opponents, but what about moves that can mess your opponent or benefit you? Well, Musharna's got a very solid range of moves like that, because when you get it as a wee little Munna, you get access to Yawn, making your opponents very drowsy, and very effectively you can put them to sleep. Pretty good way to mess with your opponents if you ask me. And later down the road, it gets Hypnosis, in case you want a faster way to put them to sleep. This gets infinitely better if you decide to take the gamble and teach the move Dream Eater, a move which deals massive damage to a sleep Pokemon while regenerating HP. Pretty solid, but a big gamble, big gamble. And moves like these can spice up the battle, and Munna has access to so many of these. Calm Mind to raise both special attack and defense, Lucky Charm to not receive critical hits, or Attract to hypnotize your opponents. Musharna has amazing utility, hitting like a truck, tanking hits, but also making battles completely unpredictable. So have at it when it comes to arming you Musharna. Wonder what moves you'll prepare them with. Comment down below. And as if it couldn't get any better, you can get a chance at catching a Munna with the ability Synchronize, which passes a status effect to your foe, meaning that if you're unfortunately paralyzed, put to sleep, or poisoned, your opponent will also be. Yeah, it's the good old, if I'm going down, you're going down with me. And while it isn't necessarily helpful per se, you do put your opponent in a very tricky position, one that they probably prepare less than you. So have at it, go nuts with your Munna. Unless you get one with Forewarn, which, not bad. That said, Munna does have some things going against it. Psychic types aren't really all that in Unova. They aren't terrible, but they aren't great. The Psychic type doesn't really do great against any of the gym leaders. Munna does thanks to its varied moveset. Plus, Psychic types are very weak against 2 of the Elite 4 members, rendering it pretty useless there. It will be amazing for Marshall's Pokemon, but that's about it. Plus, Team Plasma has many Pokemon that are either Dark type or have Dark type moves, which could really mess with Munna's Psychic type. It'll do well against the Poison types, but those are more sparse than the Dark types. With Munna, you gotta be really careful picking your battles. The right battle and you'll soar, but the wrong battle and you'll crumble. But Munna is an amazing Pokemon, with amazing stats, fantastic moveset, superb availability, and honestly pretty design. Situational, yeah, but I do encourage you to catch one if you can. So, what are you waiting for?
Just before you leave the Dream Yard by Shrine City, make sure to catch a Munna, the Pokemon you've been wishing for that will make your Pokemon journey feel like a dream.